Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video it is Sunday, so it is Pits and Peaks Day. For those that are not familiar with this style of video that I do on my channel, I talk about things that didn't go so well for the week being my pits for the week, and things that went better this week being my peaks for the week. We're going to start with the pits first so we can end on a high with the peaks, and we'll get straight into it. So pits for this week, the first one is that I haven't run again. That's becoming a very consistent thing in my pits and peaks recently. I don't really know what's going on there. Just I think this week, I mentioned last week that Philip was going to be starting a new job, so that has changed our routines quite a bit. He's been getting up at like 3:45 in the morning, which obviously should give me enough time to get my run done in the morning before work, but I've just been feeling really incredibly tired when I get up at that point in the morning. Like it's very early, and it's just going to take some adjustment for me. So that hasn't been great. I did hope to at least get in like 1 or 2 runs this week, but it just hasn't happened. My second pit for this week is that I weighed in a day early. So I weighed in yesterday, which isn't my weigh day. I should be weighing in on a Sunday. And I discovered that I had not lost any weight this week. So I'd completely maintained my weight. I hadn't gained, I hadn't lost, I just maintained. I in turn felt pretty upset about it. I don't know why, because I've had such a good sort of streak this month, or since I started, which was the sort of week before the end of May, and everything has been going really well with that, and I've been losing weight consistently every week. I guess for the reason why I was feeling a bit down when I didn't lose anything for that weigh-in. I didn't really think that I was going to lose any weight between yesterday and today either. That hasn't been the case, but yesterday, with the sort of maintain on the scales and thinking that I hadn't done good enough this week, that then in turn ended up with me having an off-track day where I wasn't meant to have an off-track day. So I really sort of need to manage that better. It should be that I just try and do better the next week if I don't get the results that I want that week, rather than letting the scales affect me that way. But yeah, it just is what it is yesterday, and I wasn't very great yesterday. It wasn't that I went completely off the rails, but I definitely didn't track my calories, and I had more than I typically would have. Especially in the evening, I ordered a dessert for the evening. I had a waffles with like sprinkles and sauce and all kinds of crap on it for the evening. I was basically tempted by Philip to order a dessert, so that's what I had last night. So getting on the scales this morning and seeing a loss, I was very surprised with that, given what I'd eaten the day before. But yeah, it just goes to show that you probably shouldn't weigh in when it's not your weigh day. So yeah, I am going to have to get a better grip on that going forward, just so that I don't sort of let the result or non-result on the scale affect the rest of my day or week. Thankfully, I am back on track today, so all is going well today. I'm not sort of letting that draw on, just getting back to it as like resuming regular schedule sort of thing. But it is something that I'm going to have to sort of bear in mind going forward. I don't think anything else really that bad has happened this week, except our sofa. I can't remember whether I said that our sofa came. No, I wouldn't have said. I think I mentioned that it was coming, but it obviously hadn't arrived at the time. The sofa came, they've forgotten the feet for the sofa, and they've got the wrong cushions on it. So that's not great, but yeah, it's not sort of life-changing or anything like that. Just thought I'd mention it because I mentioned it coming last week. I guess we'll move on to peaks for this week. So I mentioned last week that it was my birthday on Wednesday. I actually had a much better day than I expected. Usually when it's my birthday, we'd either sort of eat out or we'd have a cake and stuff like that. Wouldn't really portion the cake out properly and whatever else. I was actually under my calories on my birthday. I was very surprised with it. Didn't eat as much as I expected. I did have a birthday cake. I actually had one of those, I don't think it's called Colin the Caterpillar, it's the Tesco version of it, because that's just where we shop. So I had that, and I actually portioned out the cake properly so that we had all of the 12 slices or whatever it is that I had on the sort of serving size suggestion. So I actually split up the cake properly for that. Usually in the past when I've had birthday cake or whatever, we've just cut a slice that we kind of want, and it's not been the sort of serving size recommendation. So I am really happy with how that went. I've also had cake pretty much every day this week, except for yesterday, just by sort of splitting up by the recommended serving size and making sure that that fits into my calories for the day, and that has gone really well. Eating wise, I have been a bit hungrier. I have sort of been paying more attention to like protein and stuff like that, just to make sure that I'm eating things that make me feel a bit fuller. But just for some reason I am just a bit hungry on some of the days. I'm not sure why. Don't know whether that's because I'm walking quite a bit more than I would usually or whatever, I'm not sure. But yeah, that is how that's gone. But I've not been like drastically over on any of my days or anything like that, so it's all been good on that front. As I mentioned, I have been walking quite a bit, so I'm still maintaining my 10k steps a day. With regards to that, Philip dropped off the challenge even though he created the challenge. So he had sort of said we should do 10k steps every day for the month of May, and I have been sticking to that religiously. There was one day, it was some day last week, where it got to the evening and we needed steps, and he basically said that he wanted to have an off day, like an easy day. He'd had a really long day at work, and he didn't want to do his steps, and that didn't really deter me at all. I ended up just doing my steps on the treadmill. It's quite convenient that we've got the treadmill so that I'm able to do my steps. So I think there's been 2 days last week where I jumped on the treadmill to get my steps in. So even though he's sort of stopped doing the challenge or isn't doing the challenge as he should be, that hasn't deterred me from continuing mine. I think I'm pretty sort of stuck on making sure that I get every day 10k steps a day for May, so I'm continuing with that. I'm pretty happy that I didn't sort of take that rest day when he did, and I have been making more of an effort to make sure that now that he's at work and he's sort of getting his steps that way, that I make sure that I take myself out for a walk during my lunch break while I'm at work. It does sometimes feel a little odd to walk by myself, but I am just, yeah, I put my headphones in and just walk away. So I just sort of walk around the business park and things like that to get my steps in, or get a little bit more of my steps in before I get home, just so that I've got the majority of them out of the way. So that's going really well. I have ummed and ahed on whether I'm going to continue the 10k steps next month. I am not sure at this point in time whether I'm going to bump that down slightly. I might make it 7 or 8k, just because 10k steps does take a lot of effort and a lot of time. Like, even though I'm going out for a walk on my lunch break, which I'd say I'm probably out walking for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I have to get back in the evening, and I've still got quite a lot of steps to go, which means that I have to go out for a walk in the evening, even though I'm sort of like strapped for time once I've commuted back from work and things like that. So I'm just not sure at this point. I may continue it, because I think Maria said that she may join me on doing 10k steps a day and increasing her sort of like activity. So I may end up continuing it, but yeah, I'll decide closer to the end of May whether I'm actually going to continue, and I'll update you if I decide that I'm going to drop it down. On the one hand, like I said, it is sort of it is really challenging me, and my sort of downtime outside of work is a bit restricted by the fact that I am having to spend so much time getting in my steps. But on the other hand, it is challenging me, and I am getting in more activity, which I probably need with wanting to lose weight. So yeah, we'll just have to see on that one. Other things to update on, because I haven't been doing much running at all recently, I have decided to try the Runner app. I'll leave the name of it here. You may be familiar with it. There's quite a lot of like running coaching apps, I will say that I think that runner is quite expensive. I think it's like £16 a month, which honestly I could do with not spending, but I'm just going to see. I think I've got a 2-week trial at the moment that I'm signed up to. So I've done like a back to fitness plan, which hopefully will get me back to sort of running 5k outside. Weirdly enough, I can't remember whether I've mentioned this or not, but I can do like 40-45 minutes on the treadmill, no problem, non-stop, without walking. However, I found that the last time that I ran outside, which I think might have been, wasn't last week, it was the week before, I could barely run a mile non-stop without having to take a break. And usually it's been the sort of opposite way around, where I find the treadmill a lot harder than running outside, but for some reason that seems to have swapped. So I'm able to run for longer on the treadmill than I am outside, so I need to build that up and get back to sort of doing 5k distance. We find out next month as well whether we get into the London Marathon, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that, because it is I think it's the 14th year that I've entered. So we'll see what happens with that. I do really want to run it again. I know I said I'd never do another marathon again, but yeah, when you sort of experience London for the first time, I think I've sort of caught the bug for that. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, it would just be nice to sort of get back to doing longer-ish distances. So like 10k once a week would be nice. And then maybe enter some races towards the end of the year or beginning of next year. So yeah, it would just be nice to up my distance a bit. So we'll see how that plan goes and see whether it encourages me to get out for a run. We'll see. And if anyone wants me to sort of update on how I'm finding the runner app, then I will. But yeah, I've only just downloaded it today, so I think it's got my first run set as Tuesday, because you get to put in what days that you prefer to run. So it might be that I swap that day to a Monday, just so I can get a sort of start tomorrow, but we'll see. I may end up waiting until Tuesday. Other than that, generally the only other thing that has been good this week is that we finally finished the living room. So I know updated on the floor, and the sofa is now turned up. We also got someone round to put our TV on the wall, so the living room is pretty much finished now, and we're really pleased with how that looks. I'll insert some pictures of all the stuff so you can see it, but we're really happy with how the living room looks. So pretty much downstairs is finished now, because we've obviously had the kitchen done. Now we've got the living room done, the hallway's done. So the only thing that we really sort of need to change now is our bathroom. We're not intended on spending any sort of money right now, because we've spent quite a lot doing the living room up. But yeah, I think the next sort of big project for us is going to be the bathroom. Just before I forget, I did have one other final peak. I briefly touched on this in my pit earlier when I was talking about weighing myself a day early. I did weigh in today and I've lost weight again. So I think I'm at 11.4, either 11.2 or 11.4 lost since the 23rd of April. So I'm really, really pleased with that. I am hoping that I can get to the stone mark by the end of May, hopefully. If I increase my running or get running back in my routine, hopefully that should be doable. So we'll see how that goes. I guess, will I have another? Yeah, I should have another Pits and Peaks before I do my monthly check-in. But overall, I'm really, really happy with how my progress is going with that. And it's the most progress I've made in God knows how long. So I'm really happy with how things are going at the moment. Yeah, I guess I should have touched on this earlier. I am sort of struggling with the sort of body side of things, because even though I've lost 11 point something, I don't actually physically see it myself, which is quite frustrating. Like, I don't feel like anything's changed. I don't feel like my clothes and stuff like that feel looser. So I just can't figure out where that weight has come off from. But I think I mentioned it in another video where I feel like other people are going to be able to see the changes before I see them in myself. So we will see how things go with that when I do my monthly check-in at the beginning of next month. But yeah, it's just sort of a bit frustrating to not be able to see the physical changes in myself. But I'm just, yeah, continuing with how things are going, and things are going really well. So that is the update for that. I don't think I have anything else to update, and I've rambled on for quite enough, so I'm going to end the video here. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below, let me know a pit or a peak for this week that you have experienced. But other than that, I hope everyone is staying safe and well. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.